Hey everybody, welcome to the Big Llama Show. I'm the Big Llama. Thank you so much for joining me. What we're doing a movie review, and the movie we're going to review is Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I can't wait to get into it, but there's a bit of warning. It's going to have spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, this is not the review for you. I will do my best to give you a small abbreviated review in the beginning, so you want to get my thoughts. I'm going to give you a warning, then we're going to talk some spoilers. All right, let's get right into it. Ghostbusters Afterlife, here we go.
It's SINA. She ruckus. Deadbeat. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. You ain't a killer, boy. Stop. I hear you yelling stacks on deck.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Big Llama Show. I'm the Big Llama. Thank you so much for joining me. As we said, we're going to do Ghostbusters Afterlife. We're going to review it very briefly in a non-spoilery way, and then we're going to go right into spoilers. I'll give you a quick countdown, and then we're going to get right into it. Before we do that, let's get to the YouTube stuff. Make sure you like and subscribe. When you subscribe, my video becomes more present on your YouTube feeds. And if you hit that bell notification, you'll know when we post videos. If you like these videos, go for it. Join the Llama Nation. All right. Enough of the YouTube stuff. Let's get right into the review for Ghostbusters Afterlife. I can't wait to talk about this. All right, Ghostbusters Afterlife is directed by Jason Reitman, who's the son of Ivan Reitman, who made the first two Ghostbuster movies. In this movie, we're following Egon Spengler's granddaughter, played by Mckenna Grace. And what I would say is, in this movie, she is basically your driver. She is the one that drives the movie from beginning to end, and she carries this movie. A very, very captivating actress, one to look out for. She has a brother, Finn Wolfhard, who is also from Stranger Things. You also have Paul Rudd. Now, Paul Rudd is the bona fide star in this movie, and they do wait a little bit of time to introduce him in the movie, but he is the one that you're going to recognize the most. And I honestly think the movie starts moving a little bit faster when Paul Rudd is on the scene. The way this movie starts is that we have a mysterious, character that we're not even sure who it is at the beginning of this movie, is working on trapping a ghost. A pretty large and significant ghost. Again, none of these details are pretty much explained in the beginning, but we find out that was Egon Spengler, which was played by Harold Ramis. And they did a really good job in the beginning to really do like a shadowy figure. You don't really know it's Harold Ramis' character, or it's supposed to be, until a little bit after. Unfortunately, as in real life, in the movie, Egon passes away. And so what that does is it brings Egon's daughter, who he has abandoned, back into this small town of Somerville. And this is how the movie starts its premise, and this is how we get introduced into the secondary life of Egon Spengler during the hiatus from Ghostbusters 2 to this time. We then shifts focus to the kids. Mckenna Grace and Finn take this movie and have a really, really good nostalgia trip. And they start discovering things that Egon has left in his farm. Proton packs, traps, we find Ecto-1. What you get is a sort of a breakaway from the Ghostbuster story. There are things happening that are supernatural in this town, but you're starting to sort of understand who these kids are, how they meet friends. Things start to happen, ghosts are starting to be seen, things are starting to get triggered in this town. So the more that Mckenna Grace's character explores, the more she finds out about this town, how it's connected to the original Ghostbusters. What Egon's real plans in Somerville are discovered, and it's up to the kids and Paul Rudd to literally save the town, save the world. But I do want to mention one thing. There is a kid that they introduced in this. His name is Podcast. Now, I don't know who the actor is, but man, that kid shines on the screen, really kind of steals the show, has a lot of the comedy lines, but just a really, really great performance from him. It's impossible to talk about the third and fourth act without spoiling the movie. So here's what I will say overall as part of my non-spoiler review. I think it does a great job of bringing the nostalgia of this movie. I think if you're a Ghostbusters fan and you enjoyed those movies, you're really going to enjoy this movie. There's nods and winks. And the one thing that was great that Jason Reitman did in following his father's legacy is he kept the same look and feel. So, for example, a lot of the effects look like the effects from the 1984-1987 films. A lot of the music and the soundtrack, all of that stuff, the practical effects, they all look like the original. I hate when movies try to up the scale because you have the technology to make things look better. But when you compare it to the original material or the original movies that it's coming from, it does sort of take it away. So this was really great. I think it was done on purpose, and it serves the movie really, really well. All right, for those of you who've seen the movie, we're about to get into spoilers. So I'm going to give you a countdown. In 3, 2, 1, we're going into spoilers. You've been warned. So let's talk about a couple of things that we're going to spoil here. First things first, the introduction of Zool and the introduction of Dozer and the Gatekeeper and the Keymaster all have the same beats and plot lines as the first two movies. Very, very interesting, very, very fun, and I just love the way that they reintroduce these characters. As the movie climaxes to the very end, we find out that we need some help, and they call Ray. Ray is still available, and he is still running Ray's Occult, the bookstore, making $0, and really has a hatred for Egon, which I didn't expect. And it's just because Egon has left him high and dry. Why did he leave him high and dry? Because he was trying to save the world, and nobody knew this. And this is what's discovered in the third and the fourth act, which brings back the movie full circle. Egon's daughter is just trying to find herself and trying to figure out why Egon didn't like her or didn't support her. And it turns out he had a bigger purpose, a bigger task, and he sacrificed those things to save the world, which was a very, very touching story, and you can feel the emotion there, and that's what Jason Reitman is known for. Mckenna Grace does a great job of bringing the Egon flavor to that character and puts a spin on it her own. After reaching out to Ray, there is, some battle sequences. They're fighting the ghosts. They got the proton packs. They got Ecto-1 going, and what you see then at that point is that they're going to need some help. They're running into trouble. They're figuring out what Egon's plan was. They try to lure the ghosts back to Egon's farm, and that's where it's a giant trap. And they run into some trouble. And who bails them out? 3 of the original Ghostbusters: Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson. This is the big climax for you nostalgia buffs out there. If you enjoyed the first one, this is what you were waiting for. But they didn't play them up to be these grandiose heroes. They were beaten and worn men. They're older guys, and so they cannot be the heroes of this movie. You're going to need both them and the kids to work together, and that was the fun part of this. It was a passing of the torch. Bill Murray was Bill Murray, and he had his classic one-liners. I don't know that Bill Murray had his best performance in this, but definitely, brought back the spirit of Venkman. By far, the most touching point in this movie was the tribute to Harold Ramis. And, what tends to happen is throughout the movie, and this was done very, very well, throughout the movie, it was the ghost of Egon helping the kids find things and helping the mother find the pictures and find the reasons that he was gone. They did that really, really well, and it was tugging at the emotional heartstrings all throughout the movie. And when you get the payoff of Egon in ghost form helping his daughter, or helping his granddaughter, it was something to behold. It was, grown men were crying. If you loved those movies and you loved the Ghostbusters, you were feeling it at that moment. And there was just a very touching moment. The great thing was, I know it probably was a deep fake or some kind of technology, but the great thing they did was they didn't let him talk. They didn't have him talk and ruin anything of those moments. It was simply his face, it was his emotion, and that right there was enough to make this a great scene at the end. I enjoyed it. I would give this one a B+. Very, very good movie. I would recommend it to anybody. And if you're jonesing for something, go out this weekend and go see it. All right, that's my review. That's my review of Ghostbusters Afterlife. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you like these kinds of videos, hit the like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you know when we post videos. Thank you so much for joining me on this review of Ghostbusters Afterlife. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for coming by. I'm the Big Llama. This is the Big Llama Show. Peace out, everybody.
Yeah, I tell her, baby, you're the one for me. Never two unless you telling me you feel it too.